Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Phil Anthony. I'm with ICC as a digital code solution specialist, and with me today presenting will be Dan Janicek, who is our product manager for the Digital Codes website and products. What we will do today is give an overview of some of these great new features that we are releasing soon. And I will point out that many of these new features and improvements that we're making are recommended from our actual users. And before I turn it over to Dan here, I just wanted to point out at the top here, whenever you're logged in, this question mark right there. If you go ahead and open that up and you're able to provide any sorts of feedbacks, I guess I got to be logged in first. Let me do that because then you have other options. But once again, when you access digital codes, everything will be accessible here at this website, codes.iccsafe.org, a little bit separate than our actual website for the ICC organization. And then when we open this up here, that question mark up there, you can give the feedback and you're able to make suggestions both on content and user interface and any types of suggestions you'd like to make. So right now I will close off my video and I'll turn it over to Dan. Are you ready to go with this, Dan, for our topic today?
I am indeed, yes, sir, and thank you very much.
I'll interrupt one last time. While Dan's doing this, feel free to post questions in chat. I will monitor those, and if something quick and easy, I'll just answer it in the chat. If it's something that I feel we should interrupt Dan, he won't mind if I do that. And then, of course, at the end, we'll be able to cover every single question that has been asked. And if there's something that would be easier to ask verbally, we'll let you raise your hand and do that at the end. So once again, put it in chat, use the post to everyone so everyone can see the questions that are coming up, and I will answer those or interrupt Dan as he's doing his presentations. Thanks, Dan.
All right. Much appreciated, Phil, and good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to join us to learn more about the Digital Codes and Digital Codes Premium platform here from ICC. First and foremost, our Digital Codes platform is an incredibly powerful tool. As Phil alluded to just a moment ago, it is accessible from codes.iccsafe.org. And across here is the industry's largest assortment of code standards and more available to the built community. Before I sign in and show some of the tools and features of the premium offering, what I wanted to do is make sure that the audience here recognizes how the content is structured, as well as what's available to users even without needing to create an account or purchase a subscription. So from the landing page here, you'll see the content is grouped into one of 8 buckets with our high-level buttons here, our drop-downs, and everything nestled under iCodes, which are going to be the model international codes that get updated and authored every 3 years, as well as all of the location-centric titles. And these are going to be grouped by the state, and in some cases, even local jurisdictions, for the titles that are adopted and enforced in current time. Everything inside of these 2 buckets are available for free consumption. And when we say free, it's defined here from our basic. It is in a read-only nature through the browser, but it entitles the visitor of the site to view the full contents of these titles and take advantage of everything that's written here. So whereas you'd have a physical book, the antiquated way or the old-fashioned way of doing it would be that you're reading a book. With digital platforms like this, you are truly interacting with content. And that's one of the things that ICC wants to make as readily available to the space as possible. So as you scroll through, you can take advantage here of the sidebar of the contents to drill down to any chapter or section that you're interested in seeing. And you will note that for these sections, there's going to be color-coded text identified here in blue. Those are going to map to the evolved sections or the changes through the code development process since the prior cycle of the same title. So whereas these are blue inside the 2024 International Building Code, this is letting me know that the highlighted text here in blue has changed since the 2021 version of the same title, the International Building Code. And likewise, if I go back to the landing page here and I pull up any of the locations, if I look for something like Florida, we're going to see a similar setup here where it's going to list out the current titles that are adopted and enforced across Florida. And from the category page, we can see these icons are letting me know every title that is unlocked, and if I hover over here, it tells me what that ultimately means, which is this basic read-only access available that I can utilize as a resource. And that's reiterated here on each one of these landing pages. So as we scroll through this, the TOC here does allow us to jump right into the content, and the Florida titles as well. You can see we're going to have blue text, and when we talk about the state and local codes, those are going to have one additional layer of functionality, which is going to be the red text, and those will identify the amendments that are specific to the location. So this title, based off an I code, is going to have the blue text carry forward. And then if we were to find a section that was further modified or amended by the state, that text would be identified in red. And all of that is going to be detailed here. If we were to open up the legend, it's going to identify the different access levels as well as the different color levels so that we can very efficiently navigate throughout the text. All right, so if we come back here, I'm going to sign in because what we just showed there is the basic experience. So as you traverse, including the title, and that's going to be one of the biggest benefits of the digital experience, you've always got the ability to search, to navigate and drill down to find the contents you're seeking for quickly and efficiently. Notice as a non-signed in user, just by clicking inside the search bar here across the top, it's going to give me some suggestions for the most popular titles here across the platform. And then I can start typing any portion of a title, and it's going to update and refine this in real time. So I could type in IBC, and if I find the title I'm looking for, I can actually select it right from here, and you'll notice it'll jump me to the title landing page. Alternatively, I can type IBC and hit enter, and what this is going to do is take me to a results page that lists out all of the results relevant to that keyword, and give me the ability to drill down inside of here where I can filter it to recently added titles on digital codes. I can narrow it down based on the available categories, and I can even filter it by available years. Within the result sets here, what it's going to show me is not only the model codes, but because I had searched for anything of relevance to the IBC or the International Building Code, it's going to serve up some of the resource titles that are also available across digital codes. The difference with those being the commentaries, the SIG changes, the revision history, those titles will require a premium subscription to access, and so I'm going to see the lock icon on those ones. And so I point that out because you always have the context to navigate what is accessible versus what is not accessible as a non-signed in user. And even if I were to click on this or click through, it's still going to give me the context about this title, but you'll notice the table of contents is not accessible here. So from this point, what I would need to do is make a decision about either starting a premium trial or subscribing to this title or a subscription that contains this title so that I'd be able to access it. Okay. And this is going to work across any set of keywords we want to put in. So if I did want to do a state-centric, like if I wanted to do Florida and then residential, it's going to refine the results set and allow me to drill down directly into relevant titles for that context. And then from here, I can further refine it. So you'll notice because I did Florida and residential, it's going to serve up the International Residential Code still, because it's going to say that may be of interest based on your term residential. But if I know I only care about the Florida codes, what I can do is filter this further by Florida. And you notice now this result set is very targeted to the Florida titles that are relevant with residential. All right, and then with each one of these as well, the title search results is going to help me navigate the available titles across the platform. I do have a content tab. This is going to return actual results or matches of that keyword within the contents of the titles, but this does call out the fact that that is a part of the premium subscription as well. All right, so I'm going to go back to the landing page here, and at this point, I'm going to sign in. And so what we can do is see what the experience looks like with some of the additional features activated as a premium user. Now my demo here is going to be from the context of a staff access, but this is going to be equivalent to our premium complete. So if you were to subscribe to the complete tier, and we're going to review in just a second what that means, you're going to see a similar experience to what I'll be showing here. So the first thing that a returning user would see on their dashboard is a listing of titles that are layered into their personal experience, their prior visits. The recently viewed will serve up titles that I have accessed on prior visits, and it's going to order these sequentially. So the most recent title I've looked at while signed in was the 24 International Building Code. And so that's sitting here as the most immediate for me with a single click to be able to go into and pick up where I'd left off. And along that exact same vein, you can see this banner at the top further clarifies the ability for me to go directly into the section that I had last accessed inside of this title. So if I click jump to section, you'll notice it brings me right into 402.421. Where this becomes really valuable is if I am annotating a lot of my notes or I'm reviewing sections in the office and then I head out into the field to perform an inspection, I can actually pull this up from my tablet, from my mobile phone, and I can jump right back into the section where I had most recently been looking. And as we open the content, one of the biggest things we will notice now from the basic experience is that it does alert me. I am inside a premium. This icon is going to be accessible at any point with some notes and some resources to further guide me as to take full advantage of the premium subscription and its capabilities. It's also going to activate a lot of features and tools to make my interactions with the content more engaging and more effective. So as I scroll through, the biggest and most easily visible change is the fact that it's not read-only. So I can copy and paste. I can even print sections of this to a PDF if desired. While it is a digital platform in nature, we recognize there's always going to be cases for a print document or a print artifact being necessary to complete a task at hand. And so the Digital Codes Premium offering does support that. If we were to scroll to the bottom of the document, it does watermark it to call out that this is for the use of the individual that generated this document. And it also gives you a nice URL so that you know exactly where this was sourced from. One of the other nice things Digital Codes does is if we were to scroll up, the printing functionality will actually allow you to print parent and its children. So if I were to go to section 402 here, when I click on the print control here, it's going to let me print just this section or print this section with its subsections. And if I were to do that, you'll notice it gives me all of section 402, as well as the title and the chapter that it's sourced from in a single document. So that becomes powerful if there is a slightly larger chunk of content necessary for a document or for a referral. Additionally, as I click into any of these sections, you'll notice this 3x3 grid, which we lovingly refer to as the waffle, will become expanded and give us access to some of the other premium tools accessible within this section. The first of which here is for annotations. And so if I hover, it's going to give me the little tooltip to select text in order to apply the note against. So if I use my mouse here, I can select any subsection of the text within here. And by clicking on the little annotation, I can add my note directly into the section, and I can even classify it. And the classification tags allow you to stay organized as you add more and more of your notes into the system. The capabilities here that we recommend or recognize as some of the common use cases would be physical addresses, be it for an inspection being performed or a construction location. Or even topics. If you're preparing for a certification exam where you want to keep yourself organized by particular topics or organizational purposes, it's fully at the discretion of the user to define the notes and control them how you see fit. Okay. So purposes of today, I'm going to create a new one here, and we're just going to call this Demo 24. And what's really powerful here is the user has the ability to select any color they choose for their highlight. Now, I would recommend if you're going to be utilizing this to keep a lighter shade in mind because it is going to apply that coloration over the text. If you go too dark, you're not going to be able to read clearly the text that the highlight's being applied to. But the biggest takeaway is you see instantaneously here, the note is now displayed in line to that section, along with the project tag and who it was created by. Similarly, you have the ability to create bookmarks. As far as the note field, the same functionality is available, and it does include traditional WYSIWYG controls, including the strike through underline or changing of the colored text. So this becomes really powerful if you did want to mark up amendments or customizations in a legislative format. And becomes an opportunity for collaboration or organization for local codes or for specific requirements to your projects. and then make sure when you do access the titles of the chapters, that requirement is very clearly here in line when referring to it. And then the last piece here is just link sharing, and this becomes really helpful, especially for those in building offices that may be fielding inquiries or phone calls throughout the day. You can actually get the email address of the individual you're speaking to, and with simply putting in their email, and Phil, I'm going to send one your way, just as an example here. But assuming I'm talking to Phil, I can come in here, I can say, hi, Phil. I can customize this message further per our conversation. Please check out this section, and it's going to give me the link, and this is going to allow Phil, when he receives this, to take that link, and if I open in a new tab, you'll see it would jump him directly to that section. So now in providing support or having a conversation over the phone even, we ensure that both parties are looking at the exact same passage of text. Whereas if Phil doesn't have premium, he may not have these additional features available to him, but because this is a title with a basic component, he'd still be able to access the content and verify that he is in fact reading the same text and understanding the advice or the suggestions that I'm providing to him. As we scroll through, a couple other enhancement opportunities to make this more efficient is going to be each one of the section references. You'll notice they're active hyperlinks. Clicking on them would jump me directly to that section. But even before I do that, just hovering will actually open a modal, what we call our peek ahead, and it will pull up the text from that section so that not only do I have confidence that that is the intended section I want to navigate to before clicking, but in many cases where it's a short section, I may be able to validate the full text as it's written, and I can confirm what was needed without even needing to lose context on the page as to what I'm looking at currently. And as with any hyperlink, if you didn't want to lose your spot, you could always right-click and you can open these links in a new tab so that I can bounce between the respective sections and keep myself organized here. Additionally, as you scroll through these sections, you're going to see icons immediately following the section title. And these are going to provide context as to how the section is written or how it's interpreted for those that are enforcing it. The CDP sections are really powerful in the sense of potential for changes to the section being viewed. ICC facilitates the code development process, which ultimately leads to the updated I-codes every 3 years. And what's currently being heard right now are proposals against the 2024 I-codes, which, if approved, would impact the 2027 version of those same titles. What Digital Codes Premium makes available is those specific proposals that have been submitted and are under consideration that, if approved, would impact this section in the next iteration. The value with being aware of this ahead of time is that individuals can prepare for the potential for that change and what it means for their enforcement of the code, but also have the opportunity to get involved in the code development process to throw either their support or their opposition behind this code change to ensure that it does get approved, or potentially ensure that it doesn't get approved if it's not something you agree with. And as you scroll through here, you'll notice it's everything from the proposal, including the cost impact, the reason statement, and the evolution as it goes through the code development cycle to see if there are public comments, committee modifications, or at the end of the cycle, the results of the vote of whether this change ultimately did get approved or disapproved so that you know what to expect in the next iteration. The other piece you'll see as you scroll through here is going to be a P icon, and those are going to indicate where premium code insights are available. And these are bonus pieces of content to further educate and understand how to apply this code effectively. Whereas this one is a premium answer. And so if I were to open this up, these are common or broad questions and answers around this section. We can come over here to the Insights tab, and we can actually filter and narrow down for what type of insight we want to find based on what section they're available on. So rather than scrolling through, I'm going to jump to one here. Let's see, I wanted to find one with blue text. There we go. So that we can indicate the evolution of the code from the prior cycle. So the CDP tags we just talked about show changes that would impact this code for the 2027 version, whereas the blue text identifies changes that were introduced in the prior cycle and have impacted the code as written today. Now, I'd mentioned the blue text indicates that a change was made. The premium code insights actually source up that specific proposal with the same level of detail that ultimately was approved and impacted this section. So not only do we see what the net result of that change was, but we have all of the context, including the reason statement, cost impact, and any testimony that ultimately led to that change being passed and the rationale behind it. And if the legislative markup for that section wasn't enough, we also tag in here the hearing videos. So you can listen to the testimony both in support and opposition for these changes to fully ensure understanding and alignment for these code change details. All right, and being able to show one of those. So now if we come back over here to the insights, you can see, whereas if that is a particular insight of interest, the user can come in and actually filter and say, okay, code change details are really powerful. I want to see every section in this title that has a code change detail tag to it. And that refinement is going to build me a dynamic list here. So for any of these sections, if I jump to it, you notice these are going to be ones that have a code change detail. And in most, if not all cases, they're going to have an accompanying hearing video tagged to it. And you'll notice within that dropdown, we also have premium answers, and we also have commentary excerpts. And we're bringing more and more of these into the I-codes from passages in the corresponding commentary that provide value or have additional context. So this one in particular is going to have multiple sections, and the commentary are a series of supplemental titles which provide editorial for each one of the sections. So whereas the commentary would require a premium subscription to access in its own right, these premium code insights are a bonus, if you will, to the current title. So subscription to the building code is going to give me access to these excerpts, even if I don't have the full commentary inside of my premium permissions. All right, and then the last but not least, so we've got the Insights tab. I also wanted to point out our Notes tab here. So as you can imagine, a heavy user of Notes is going to create a little bit of a busy experience as we create more and more colorized tags. Rather than create a new one, I'll pull one in here, use one of my existing tags and hit save. And you'll notice I could have my light orange here, my pink. As I scroll through, it's going to become really colorful. So the Notes functionality here with the tab allows me to filter and focus on one project tag worth of notes at a time based on what's relevant or what's necessary for me in the moment. So I can come in here and I can actually say, the one I just created, I'm at 456 Main Street. That's the inspection I'm performing. I want to filter down to those and see just those set of notes at the current scope. And you notice that the other ones are still there, but they are hidden from view in order to give me a more focused experience around the content. And then last but certainly not least is going to be the search experience. So we notice the search bar is in the same spot here along the top of the header. That is our wayward finding anywhere we navigate across Digital Codes Premium. But because I am a premium user for this title, any type of search I perform is not only going to give me relevant title results, but in this case are going to give me specific matches of where that term occurs inside the text. So if I want to start with buildings or structures, for example, come in here, I can search for structures, I hit enter. It's going to take me to my content results page. You notice it is going to offer me up some relevant titles in case that was of interest to what I was looking for. I can always minimize those. And then I scroll down and the results are going to return in relevant order occurrences of that term structures across the active title that I'm viewing, the 2024 International Building Code. Now, as a premium user, if I want to expand my scope and say, okay, I see these, but I meant to find where this occurs anywhere in my premium titles, I can always remove that title, and you notice now the result set gets significantly larger. And I can always narrow that back down by using the facets here available on the left-hand side. So the default here is going to give me any of these words type searches. If I wanted to find an exact match, and let's pull from here so we can see how that would work, utility easement beneath. Let's say that's the specific sequence of words I wanted to find. I can actually refine that to be an exact search. And you notice the result set is going to narrow down significantly as a result. Likewise, I can use my premium titles or my categories down here to further narrow down which titles I want to source these results from. The breadcrumbs at the bottom are going to let me know what title, chapter, and section each one of these results is being returned from. But we do notice that it seems like these are redundant results, and the reason being this same section occurs in the fire code across each cycle. So if what I really care about is the 2024 fire code, what I can do is come in here and I can narrow it down. Only show me results for the 2024 International Fire Code, and you notice with that, I've actually narrowed down to the specific occurrence that I'm most likely seeking. And I also have my premium toolbar available right from here in the search results page. So I can jump to this section, which would be the same behavior if I were to click on the ordinal and the title. I can copy this to clipboard, or I can share the link or bookmark it right from here. So it becomes really powerful. And I will say all this functionality from the digital code side of the digital codes premium side is accessible with a free 14-day free trial or 14-day trial that anyone is welcome to sign up for. It is truly free, meaning there is no credit card or no payment obligation in order to access the trial. And whereas everything we just reviewed is what we refer to as our context tools, we also have what we refer to as our smart tools. And so those are going to be accessible here from the main menu under your Premium Tools menu. You're also going to have a quick access to these from your initial landing page here on the dashboard, where we've got our AI Navigator, our Premium Answers, our compliance calculators. AI Navigator in particular is a trained large language model using artificial intelligence, AI, to answer your code compliance questions in real time here across any set of codes as they relate to either I-codes or the states. We do have a couple of sample questions queued up. So the nice part is we can click on those in order to generate a response. Additionally, you can type any one of your questions here into the search field. The system is going to review the text based on the scope that's selected here. And you can see it's going to give you a very targeted answer along with reference sections where that answer is sourced from. And what's nice is these are clickable, so you can pull up that section text. And again, as a premium user, you've got more of the premium feature functions available to you. And then with premium answers, we had seen an example of one of these as an insight tagged to the section inside the International Building Code. There is a wide array available here in our searchable question and answer database, and these two are going to be available to search with a keyword or filter down by titles and topics. And these are going to provide questions that are generated from our members in our user base with carefully cultivated answers from our technical services team of experts. So this goes really wide-reaching. And even with these, if we scroll down, similar to AI Navigator, we have relevant code sections cross-linked here for the users to be able to apply to the relevant titles. All right, so I'm going to come back here to the landing page. Everything I've shown to this point is beneficial across Digital Codes Premium from an individual user experience. What I've just demoed is from what we call a personal profile, meaning I am the individual using it, I am the individual paying for it. As we identify opportunities here, we recognize there's going to be many cases where teams are going to be necessary for collaboration purposes. And so with Digital Codes Premium, the capabilities for team collaboration empower teams and allow them to access all this great content and great features to do their jobs even better. When talking about digital codes, one of the first things you're going to want to determine as a limiting factor is what content is going to be necessary for the team. So I signed out here just as an easy way of showing where to find our pricing page, which is going to be accessible from the subscribe button here along the main navigation. Additionally, you can find this at any point under Explore Premium, and we've got our pricing page here at the bottom. But it starts to structure from the singles, collections, or the premium complete offering within digital codes. And within each one of these, there's going to be a variance on pricing based on the content needs of the team and the customer. With singles, the equivalent would be a la carte, where you're identifying the titles that are of need and selecting the duration for your subscription to be managed. Collections would be a pre-bundled set of titles, and Premium Complete has over 17, and in fact, this is constantly expanding and growing. We are actually over 1,800 titles now included within a single subscription. For each one of these, we can select the tier of interest, and what this is going to do is scroll us down and allow us to start searching and building our personalized quote of how this offering would apply for our specific use case. So if I was going to explore this from a single standpoint, and let's say it's the 2024 I codes that I would need access to with my team, I can actually come in here for singles, and we notice as I select individual titles, it's going to move them over into my quote, and it's going to show at a monthly duration what the total price would be, as well as discounts available if I were to become an ICC member. Now, discounts become really powerful as we consider Digital Codes Premium, because not only is there a member discount available, but as I start to utilize the different facets available here in my quote, moving to annually applies an additional discount. Going month to month for my billing duration as opposed to monthly automatically applies a 10% discount to the price as displayed. But if I were to go 3-year, it's even larger at a 40% discount. So that's going to have you locked in for a 36-month period, or annually be a 12-month period as opposed to going month to month. And then additionally, we have price breaks here. You can see as we increase our quantity. So starting at 2 would actually give us a 15% license quantity discount. And as we increase, you can see that discount amount gets larger as the quantity goes up. And so that question really boils down to, for you and your team, how many individuals need access to Digital Codes Premium? And being able to review the functionality here to find a budget that best fits your needs. Additionally, if I were to clear all of this out, I can come in and with my Premium Complete, I can bring that into the duration here and see what that looks like for prices, also across the different durations and the different quantities that are available to me. And Phil, who we met at the start of the call, is our ICC sales specialist. As we are looking at some of these quotes, any questions, Phil is always available to help us with that. And we have the ability to reach out and contact him right here from the CTA, as well as we scroll down, you'll notice all of the features we looked at are available across each one of these tiers, but we get a nice reinforcement of what each one of these sets of premium subscriptions includes. And then we've got some common billing questions, and again, another CTA here to contact sales or get a demo at any point. All right, so in addition to the pricing options, the other option here for teams, if we click through here, we've got our Premium for Teams page, is how the licenses are going to be configured and utilized. And so as we look at the pricing here, this is going to let us know that if we have 8 licenses, this would be the price. And again, as we adjust accordingly. But what you do with a license has 2 very different experiences here in order to allow customers to take full advantage of it for their use case. The Premium for Teams page goes into a little more detail about what those 2 options are. So as we scroll down, what we have is sharing of licenses across your team with our concurrent licenses functionality. And then we have our dedicated seats with our DCP Enterprise offering. Concurrent functionality is targeted for smaller teams or more budget-conscious departments that don't have staff that maybe need to be in Digital Codes Premium at all times, or have some flexibility that if it's in use, they can come back and access the content and or features at a later time. That essentially allows you to purchase a block of licenses, and those get distributed amongst your team to be checked out and used at different times, almost like a library book would. The thing to keep in mind there is if the concurrent license is checked out, it is unavailable for someone else to utilize until it is checked back in. Within enterprise seats, those are dedicated to the individual, meaning you're never going to have an issue or a situation where premium is not available when someone on your team may need it. We've got a video here going into a little more detail. The sharing and the dedicated is the primary difference in experience to the end user, but I will state that with our DCP Enterprise, there are additional benefits for user management onboarding, as that is geared for a large team of customers, as well as supporting multiple admins. And so we'll take a look at the experiences from the end user perspective, so you can get a little bit of a flavor of what your users would see with these two options. So I'm going to sign in here. You may have noticed this before when I stepped through as a personal user. There were two other options here in my dropdown. Anytime a user signs in, they're going to be consuming Digital Codes or Digital Codes Premium through one of three profile types. The personal is going to be available for everybody. That is the individual who is signed in. And that is either going to be a basic experience or a premium experience based upon what they have subscribed to. The other two options you'll see here map directly to the Premium for Teams concepts that we just introduced. So we've got Enterprise and we've got Concurrent. We'll start here with Concurrent. And the way this would be managed is the individual who subscribes and is paying for the licenses would have the ability to manage those licenses under Premium Tools from the license configuration page. And with concurrent access, they would be able to generate a concurrent code, and this is any alphanumeric combination. They would define the number of titles, number of subscription licenses that are bundled under that code, and then they would define the titles that are accessible. And so the one I'm looking at right here, demo test, for example, I had defined with a single user license, and you can see I pulled in 5 different titles that are going to be bundled under this subscription. With this now active, all I would have to do to allow my team to take advantage of this is distribute this code, this demo test 2, and anyone who comes to Digital Codes and creates an account would have the opportunity to come here and enter their concurrent code. Likewise, from my dashboard page, you'll notice there's a concurrent block here on the right-hand side where I can enter that concurrent code. Now, I'm seeing it in my dropdown because as a quick access convenience, once a user successfully connects to a concurrent code, they're going to see it in their dropdown to allow them to avoid having to type it on a subsequent visit. So if I wanted to show what that would look like, I can actually remove it here from my previously visited concurrent codes. If I refresh, you notice it's gone from my dropdown. So now if I were to either access my enter concurrent code from the menu or scroll down here, I can type in my demo test 2. The system's going to look to see if there is a license available with that subscription, which currently there is. And so it activates me. You'll notice my active profile now updates to reflect concurrent, and it has re-added that concurrent connection into my dropdown for ease of accessing it on my next visit. The other thing it's done here is clarified that my profile is concurrent, and whereas I still have my recently viewed titles, the big difference here is when I flip to my Premium Titles tab, it's going to list out those titles that are configured within the concurrent code, and it's going to give me what we didn't cover earlier is the third of the 3 icons, the 3 gold stars, letting me know that Premium Tools and features are active for this title. Now you may be asking, I see 24 titles here. I thought there were only 5 bundled. One of the hidden benefits of Digital Codes Premium is that for any title you subscribe to, earlier versions of that same title and the premium features across them are included within your subscription. So whereas I have the 2024 International Mechanical Code, which is hidden somewhere down in here, you'll notice I also have earlier versions, or the property maintenance. I've got the 12, the 2015, the 2018. So this is going to expand my value because it's going to allow me to see how these codes have evolved and search across earlier versions as well as the more recent one that I had directly subscribed to. And from an end user experience, it's seamless to what we had looked at before, that they're going to see these titles available. They'll have the opportunity to navigate directly into the text, and they're going to be able to see all the premium features and insights available across that title, along with the search capabilities in AI Navigator. So everything we had just reviewed as far as the value proposition is available to these customers. The collaboration benefit with these becomes that as a user, if I create a note, I can classify this with any new tag. We'll call this concurrent note. As I save this note on this section, this node is actually going to be present and accessible to any other user now who connects to this same concurrent code. And so if I take the time to mark up my amendments or my project requirements, one individual can go through and mark all that up, and any other users on that team leveraging that same concurrent code are going to benefit from being able to see that same note when they navigate to that section. All right. So I am going to flip back to my personal profile. And what I'm going to show now here briefly is the enterprise experience. And so the enterprise is going to support the dedicated seats. So the difference with enterprise is whereas concurrent is an alphanumeric code, enterprise is going to be more of a profile-centric setup for the customer where we're going to see that enterprise profile name visible across. So test enterprise account, envision that as being your organizational name or your team name to make that clear to identify. When the user opts into the enterprise profile, again, they're going to see a very similar experience here from their dashboard that gives them clarity as to what type of profile they're connecting to, as well as what level of access they have, the premium tier. The concurrent code I had configured because it was individual titles was at the premium singles level. This one with enterprise happens to be at the premium complete tier. But I will mention that there is a lot more flexibility with DCP Enterprise to be able to bundle unique sets of content, premium complete, of course, being the most valuable or the most far-reaching. Additionally, the users would have the ability to come here and they would browse the premium titles. And as they navigate in, they would see the same set of functionality available across all of these. So the insights, the notes, AI Navigator, as well as the powerful searching is going to be available for the enterprise users here as well. One of the unique pieces with enterprise is that it supports multiple admins for user facilitation and management. So as an enterprise user, if I am flagged as an admin for it, what I'm going to see here is a dynamic menu set inside of my main menu. And when I navigate over here to the enterprise admin tools, it's going to give me controls to allow me insights and control across my provisioned licenses. So I come in here, it's going to show me the contract that was negotiated and set up so that I know exactly what duration it's active for. It's going to clarify what my tier is, my subscription level being complete. And it's going to let me know that for this instance of the 10 licenses that I secured, 6 of them are in use across individuals of the platform. I've got my premium complete. And then if I were to expand or have additional orders pertaining to this, that would be listed out here very cleanly for me to access. The most powerful screen here is going to be the manage users. And this allows me to add or remove individuals who are available for the enterprise. And that's a powerful difference with concurrent. That code is out there. So the demo test 2 is available for anybody to utilize, meaning if that code gets out beyond my intended team and I have a small number of licenses, there's a potential for more collisions where someone tries to sign in and is told that license is in use. With DCP Enterprise here, it is a defined user pool, meaning the admins have the ability to declare specifically who is utilizing those subscribed licenses. And even within here, I have the ability to import a CSV. So for a large team, I can add everybody in one pass, or I can add individual users. So as my team expands and new individuals join the team, I can bring them in. So if I wanted to, John Wilson, for example, and we'll take a look at what he would see on the back end. We extend him an invite, we click add. It's going to let me know that he's been sent an invite, which is going to guide him into the enterprise experience. As I go over my second page here, here's John Wilson. It's going to let me know that his login is pending. So he's been added, but he has not yet accepted the invite. And assuming his email didn't get received for whatever reason, I can always grab the enterprise link and I can share this with him directly, which really becomes valuable as we live more and more in Teams or Slack or other chat type utilities. You can also grab this and just send it to him directly and say, hey, click this link. What John is going to see in his inbox is an email from the system that's going to let him know you've been invited. It's going to be your organizational name here. and it's going to clarify what access this is giving him. And you notice with this branded email, it's going to give a very clear accept invitation. So when John clicks this, he's going to sign into Digital Codes. It's going to walk him through the registration process. And upon completing that, it's going to land him here on the dashboard page, where he's going to have all of his premium titles accessible, all the utilities, and he's going to be able to engage and take full opportunity of what's available to him. The other single greatest benefit of DCP Enterprise is the fact that the profile selection is sticky. So meaning once the user is in the enterprise profile with the allotment of access permissions, when they sign out of Digital Codes and return at a future date, notice that I am moved directly into that enterprise profile again. So I don't need to remember what enterprise was it or how do I get into the premium facet functions. All of that is going to be activated and restored for me, and it's going to build out my recently viewed so that I can re-engage with the content more efficiently. That's one other compare and contrast feature. With concurrency, recognizing that these are shared or these are checked out, if you will, those concurrent codes will disable or disconnect the user after 20 minutes of inactivity. And that's to make sure that an unused license is going to be freed up for somebody else who needs it. But it is also going to require the user to select this each time they sign in to connect to that shared code. And that's essentially the process of checking the license out, making sure that one is available, and then assigning it to this individual for the duration of time that they need it. But you will see, even if somebody has multiples, there's nothing preventing a combination of concurrent enterprise and personal, and the user can navigate between them just with the click or the selection of the profile. And then again, as an admin, I can see the manage users. And the other thing I would have here is the activity report. And this one is going to track the titles and the features being utilized within this enterprise profile. So as an admin, I have full confidence that my staff is taking advantage of the utility and the features available to them. With the DCP Enterprise, as I mentioned earlier, those are geared toward larger customers, so that it does provide access to the sales specialist and personalized training and onboarding sessions as well, similar to what we reviewed here today. So again, keep these in mind for your team purposes. Phil, myself, and the sales team at ICC are always available to review these, to walk you through your options to make sure that the tailored solution for your needs does align and optimize your team to perform their best work. And as mentioned, the 14-day free trial is available. It does require creation of a free ICC account, but provides access to all the features and functions on Digital Codes so that you can see just how valuable this is going to be for your team. All right, I'll kind of pause there, and Phil, I'll open it up for questions.
All right, yeah, we just had one question posted here. Actually, it references the Florida building code. So if I wanted to find Florida codes, what would be the best way to do it? And once you get there, I'll pose the question.
Sure, sure. So I think the easiest, what I would recommend is starting with the search at the top here. So as a premium user, it's going to bring me to the content tab by default, but this is where the power really comes in, that it does have the relevant titles sub-block. So if what I'm intending to find are in fact titles, you can see here it's going to serve up some of these across Florida, and I can always flip to the titles tab here to see the full set of Florida titles available. And this is going to allow me to expand or contract my scope using some of the facets on the left-hand side here as well. So for example, if I wanted an older Florida code, I could put 2020 into the search keyword, or I can use the years filter here to narrow down and limit it to 2020.
Going to the most recent Florida building code, if you go to chapter 6, this question happens to be on these sections that are titled reserved. I think I knew the answer for it, but go ahead. And I guess since they asked a specific question, you can show the other people too, because I see that come across as well.
Okay, it's at chapter 6.
I see him stated chapter 602.3.1.
From the IMC, I'm sorry, did you say?
Well, I got FBC as the, so I thought it was Florida building code.
And they all start with Florida building codes. I was getting chapter 6 of the Florida building code building.
Okay. And as we're going through this, if people have questions, if you want to raise your hand and, Ricky, I know this is
I
your
just saw
question.
Yeah, you just provided the context residential. So there we go. Going there
If you
now.
guys have other questions, feel free to raise your hand and we'll let you, we'll unmute the microphone as the hands are raised.
Okay, and some of the text here, I see where it reads as reserved.
That is the question, yeah.
Okay.
Why?
So that is something we'll have to look into. These titles are created in alignment with the state. So that is the text that was landed upon inside the physical, or across all formats, I should say. How that was landed upon, or what the inferred meaning is with the state, is something that we can look into and circle back to make that clearer.
Yeah, send me an email on the Ricky. Dan, I thought it was related to there was a previous code that had that same code section and it may not be applicable currently, so they saved it or reserved the number, or am I
Uh,
wrong on
And again, I don't want to speak out of text.
it?
That is a
Yep.
content decision, though. I can tell you that it is not anything that digital codes is doing to the text. That was something that would have been
Yep.
determined when the title was digitized and imported to digital codes.
Yeah, the great thing about our codes, you see the amended codes, we do get them directly from Florida. So as Florida presents them, that's how we will present them as well. Do have a question. Let's see if I can unmute from Eric. And, oh, geez. There we go. All right, Eric, I think I have unmuted you. Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
okay. Yeah. Will the commentaries be added to this as they are issued?
They will. Yeah. So great question. Commentaries are going to be under their own topic or category here. The 2024s are being worked on as we speak, and as those are finished and digitized, yes, those will be published to the Digital Codes platform.
And the significant, well, it's not code, but the significant changes books, those are still just going to be available hard copy.
No, so those are under the resources heading, but the significant changes are available here on Digital Codes as well.
Good deal. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. The 24 is similar to the commentaries. Those are being finalized. Those are just a little bit further along. I know the first couple titles are being digitized and should be available mid-September.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I will just say, you might have said, how would I have known to look under resources? So again, that's a bad habit just because I'm more familiar living on this application. But if you're ever in doubt, that's where the search comes really, really powerful. So you got to be able to type it correctly, which I can't do while I talk. But if you were to do significant changes, it'll give you the full set of available titles there. And it gives you the ability to narrow it down as well. So you'll notice some states have specific versions. You can navigate to the cycle or the state you're interested in using the category locations filter here on the left.
All right. Unmuted Ricky for a question. Oh, maybe I muted him back. There we go. Try now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, got
Yes,
you.
we
Sorry.
can.
Okay. Hey, I had another question. I'm on Enterprise, Hillsborough County Enterprise. My layout on my page layout is different than yours. So when I go to ICC AI Navigator, it's a beta. Is the beta something that they're still working on?
So the beta is just a label, but it just suggests that we're continuing to refine and improve the platform. Rest assured, it is the latest and greatest iteration. It is a beta currently because we just introduced the ability for customization of questions across the relevant states.
Okay, so that's how mine's laid out. But when you ask a question, the bar that answers the question is so small that I can't even scroll through. It's very odd. I don't know. Maybe that's a tech, an IT thing that I'll have to get with.
It's very possible, but yeah, if you don't mind, let's follow up after the webinar and we can step through that and get that addressed.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, now technically it should not do that. Anytime you had a challenge with that, you can always send me that information in a screenshot as well too. But yeah, go ahead and test it out here. But yeah, when we say beta, it's just that we continue. It's not a finished product yet, so there are things and details that are being added. But yeah, you can definitely use it. In your case at Hillsborough, you can select the Florida codes.
And the big piece here you'll notice is as we ask the question, the reference sections are all sourced directly from the Florida titles. So it gives you confidence that this is coming from the Florida-centric contents.
Yeah, it's really cool. And the functionality of all of this that you went over is really cool. But I just, for some reason, when I put my questions in, you can't see the answers that come up. And we'll go through
It looks
that.
totally
Thank you.
different than this then? It's a smaller
No,
window?
not totally, but yeah, my window comes up right where your thumbs up and thumbs down is. There's a small bar and I can't figure out how to adjust it. There doesn't seem to be a way to adjust it. And it comes up to where I have to scroll down or up through it, but I can't even read it. I don't, it's weird. I don't know if I can do a screenshot. I don't think I can put it in the chat, but
Okay. Yeah, Ricky, let's definitely circle up afterwards. It might be a resolution issue, it might be a responsiveness issue, but we will definitely work with you to get that resolved.
thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I will stop recording now. Well, I'll stay on a few more minutes if people do have questions, but just let you know, I'll stop recording. This recording will be sent out to all people that have registered. Appreciate you taking time to attend. I will stay on here for a little bit here, but have an excellent afternoon and be on the lookout for other webinars that we hold each month as well, too.